the topics and all the traits as an entrepreneur, this one, I believe, is probably the most important of all of them. If you don't have this, you will fail as an entrepreneur. No matter how smart you are, you have to have persistence. Some people call it pigheadedness. Some people call it stubbornness. You have to have a vision so compelling within yourself that you are going to succeed, that no matter what happens, you're going to plow forward. You may change your goal, you may change your course, you may change your product, you may change your service, but above all, you have the will to persist above all things. In a confrontation between the stream and the rock, the stream always wins. But it's not from strength. It's just the constant sit down and the water dribbling, 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 and not stopping, and eventually get to the rock. In psychology, it's usually called a personality trait. It's measured in the temperament and character inventory. It's one of the 4 temperament traits. It goes all the way back 3,000 years to the theory of the 4 temperaments from Aristotle and Socrates, where they talked about it. And it really refers to persistence in spite of fatigue or frustration. Perhaps you've worked with one of these people that has this in-depth persistence. They're sitting down and let's go outside and do this. And everybody else is falling by the wayside. They're laying on the ground, passed out from exhaustion, and this person goes on no matter what happens, and they're crawling forward. Yes, that's what you need as an entrepreneur. You need to move forward when the whole world around you stops or slows down, because you have a vision that's going to drive you. J.K. Rowling, she sat down and she wrote a series of books, and actually just one book overall. And she was rejected, rejected, rejected. Her marriage was bad. She was jobless. She's poor. And she sat there and she went constantly going to different publishers. And finally, eventually, somebody saw her book and they fell in love with it. It's called Harry Potter. And then she proceeded to write a series of Harry Potter books and became world famous, basically, but she came out of nowhere. She says, I had failed on an epic scale. An exceptionally short-lived marriage had imploded. I was jobless, a lone parent, and as poor as possible to be in modern England without being homeless. The fears my parents had for me and that I had for myself had come to pass. And by the usual standard, I was the biggest failure I knew, as she addressed the graduates of Harvard. Stephen Jobs. It was 2 guys in the garage. By the time it was all done, Stephen Jobs sat down there and he begged, borrowed, and stealed. By the time he was all done, they put together all kinds of cool stuff. And it really wasn't Jobs that actually was the brains behind all the technology. It was his partners, Wozniak, in the process. And Jobs was nothing but a fabulous entrepreneur. And he started a company. They sold stock. They were thriving. And before he knew it, he sold the stock and he wasn't the major shareholder of his company anymore. And his board of directors fired him from his own company. Years later, they hired him back. Stephen Jobs was persistent. Michael Jordan, you know what? We see all the history of Michael Jordan. He clearly is one of the greatest basketball players in all of history. He may be surpassed, but at least will be in the top 10 no matter what happens when it comes down to it. His first time in high school, this Mike Jordan, they called him back then, he was only 5'10". By my standards, it's kind of big. Okay, but that being said, they put him back to JV. Michael Jordan on JV in his first year in high school. Oh my gosh, he was embarrassed by the whole thing in the process. And eventually, he ended up being a superstar in high school, but he started by being put back to JV because he wasn't very good. Bill Gates. He was a dropout. I mean, let's cut to the core. He was a dropout. Yes, it wasn't Harvard, but regardless, he dropped out primarily to focus on his passion on computer programming, and he worked hard. By the time he was done, at 31, he was the world's youngest self-made billionaire. Steven Spielberg, he became a household name by the series of movies that he did. Probably most shocking of all was Jaws. We even watch it every once in a while during Shark Week now. Oh my gosh, E.T., he had poor grades in high school. At USC, he was kicked out, not once, not twice, but 3 times for bad grades and his wild ideas about movie making. Oh, but wait a minute. He probably made more money in one movie than most of the professors there did their whole lifetime. That's just the name of the man. Persistence, Failure really is just success in process. If you'd rather not fail, you'll probably not succeed. It's a big thing, this whole thing. And yes, this whole presentation begins with a little bit of preaching because of the fact that sometimes we sit down and we look at things. Here's a quick snapshot. I don't expect you to read all of them. You got Einstein there. Einstein started out as a copyright clerk. Seriously? Copyright clerk. Go read his history. It's really interesting. He was pig-headed, stubborn, and of all things, persistent by the time it was all done. Walt Disney failed. Somebody stole his first idea. Oprah Winfrey got fired because she wasn't dynamic enough. Seriously? Yeah, the Beatles. The Beatles had a hard time cutting the records deal. I went through and I looked on the aspect of what is persistence. I found words that sound just like them. Perseverance, tenacity, determination, doggedness, resolve, importunity, insistence, obstinacy, stubbornness, dedication, devotion, drive, grit, purpose, steadfastness, endurance, tirelessness. Yes, yes, you need all these words in your vocabulary, and you need to self-talk them to yourself. Take care.